Good evening. We'll call to order the City of Lakewood Planning Commission for our regular meeting on May 1st, 2024. Roll call, please, Mr. Rice.
Commissioner Buckley.
Here.
Commissioner Furman.
Here.
Commissioner Gribble-Eunice.
Here.
Commissioner Kolkmeyer.
Here.
Commissioner O'Neill.
Here.
Commissioner Overall.
Here.
Commissioner Peters.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Moving to item 3, this is other legislative matters, university college use of residential properties. As a reminder to everyone, this was a request from City Council that we make recommendations as to whether there should be any changes in the zoning code as it relates to defining these university and college uses. This is actually the third time that it has been before the commission. We've we've had public notice and public comment each of 2 previous times. This is the third time. This time we're working off a draft resolution based upon our discussion from the last meeting. So that draft resolution is available on Lakewood Speaks, and of course all commissioners had a chance to take a look at that. The first thing we're going to do is take public comment on this issue.
Did not let our attorney in, which is what I was trying to do. So.
Thank you. So we have Shannon Dreyfus. And if you don't mind just repeating your name and ward or address, and we'll get you going.
You bet. Good evening. My name is Shannon Dreyfus. Excuse me. My address is 8787 West Alameda. I'm a vice president with Colorado Christian University. I just want to say CCU appreciates the Planning Commission's careful consideration of this matter and its respect for its role relative to City Council and the city officials who must apply the zoning code. We agree that the resolution reflects the positions presented to the Commission and agree that no additional changes are needed at this time. Colleges and universities are evolving to meet the changing needs of students and our changing understanding of who constitutes a traditional student. Regulations need to evolve as well. In the future, CCU would welcome the opportunity to work with the city and interested citizens to discuss an appropriate approach to regulating college and university uses more effectively. At an appropriate time, we believe a holistic discussion with a broader group of stakeholders will allow the city to chart the right course for the benefit of all its citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. If you can hang on just a moment, we'll see if any commissioners have questions. Commissioner Peters?
Thank you, Chair Kolkmeyer. I was very interested in the broader discussion that you mentioned. Is this something that you're looking at in the short term or the long term? Can you maybe speak a little more to that?
I don't really have a term. I just think that the world keeps changing, the university is changing, the city is changing, and so I think we just want to take a long view. University has been there for over 100 years and will continue long into the future. So we need to take the long game in mind.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Baker, I assume on this item as well?
Good evening, Robert Baker, Ward 1. Sorry I couldn't be here at the last meeting, and I was happy that you were able to take my comments through a surrogate on that. I appreciate that. I just wanted to say that it doesn't surprise me that you guys came to the conclusion that you did, which is to basically kick it back to City Council, and that's been my position all along, which is to say that this is a very clear-cut situation. The code is clear as to what it says. It's been through an adjudication, through the Court of Appeals, and it's just a matter of the City Council having the political will to tell the staff to enforce the code, which is not, I don't understand the reason for the circumspect attitudes that some of the counselors have about what the code says, or whether the staff has that same kind of circumspect approach to it. As we discussed at length with you guys, the code is very clear, and the list of things that constitute a university or college isn't a exhaustive list. And to then say, well, we can't tell whether a faculty being housed is a university use, or we can't tell whether providing special housing for temporary missionaries is a university use or not, that just defies logic that somebody can't come to that conclusion. That's also part of a university use. And the code is exceedingly clear that university uses are prohibited in that zone. And so it seems to be a no-brainer, yet we continue after 20 years having the same arguments about this. And I think it has something to do with the political will. Unfortunately, I think that the council often doesn't want to make decisions about this sort of stuff, which is why they send it to you. And it's just going to go back to them. It happened the last time when it went to the dialogues to where we were trying to get the definition added back in again, because the planning commission punted on that one too and sent it back to council. And so I just think that it's not surprising, and now we have to deal with the politicians and go from there. Any questions?
Commissioner Peters.
I think my light was left on from before, but I heard the previous speaker discussing about a possible, community discussion, and interested in your thoughts on that.
Well, I spent a year and a half in direct negotiations with Adam Paul and with the school. How many years ago has it been now? But it was running up to the point where we fought to get the language back in, and that triggered the lawsuit from CCU. I don't know what there is to say. I mean, it's very clear that the code prohibits university use in the low-density zoning. I don't know what there is to discuss. And it would be nice if CCU would do the good neighbor thing and acknowledge what's going on here. Take no for an answer from the courts. Take no for an answer from the neighborhoods. And just say, okay, we understand where we're at. We don't need to expand further into the east and north of our campus. We have a footprint that we've already gotten expanded back in 2012 with our tentative approval, but there was nothing we could do about it at that point. But the point is that they've got other places where they can house people. They've got zoning where they own property, where they can house students or missionaries or wherever they want. Over on Teller Street, they own property where they can do that under proper code. They've got all kinds of land to the west that they own that could be developed or whatever for if they have more housing needs or whatever. The point is, leave us alone on the north and the east.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thanks so much. Ms. Herskovitz.
Lenore Herskovitz, Ward 1. First of all, I want to thank you all for your work on this resolution. And I appreciate that you noted that there were many zoning districts that are zoned for university college use. There were 6 zones that were mentioned, and then 2 through special permits where they could locate. So this is not a problem that there's no other options. What is off limits is R1, R2 zoning, and that seems to be where they want to focus. Second of all, thank you for mentioning the litigation process. Both the district and appellate courts ruled that the prohibitions that are on college and university use were constitutional and non-discriminatory. So thank you for mentioning, you didn't go into great detail, but you did mention the litigation process. And then I'd like to do just a special thanks, number 1 to Commissioner Peters, for recognizing and trying to address the neighborhood's major concern, which is regarding the lack of enforcement of a legal ordinance. Also, I'd like to give honorary mention to Commissioner Buckley. For the years that I've watched him you go beyond the packet. You do great research, and you bring it back to the council. Your wealth of knowledge just impresses me so much, and how much you know about things, even when I disagree with the outcome you come to. But I thank you for that, and I thank you for sharing that knowledge with the other members on the dais. So thank you.
Ms. Herskowitz, are there any questions? No questions. Is there anyone else who would like to testify on this matter? If not, we will close the public comment portion on it, and we'll bring it back to the full commission. You have a draft resolution in front of you. We are, of course, not obligated to vote on this resolution if commissioners are not ready. But if a majority is ready, I would encourage you, anyone who would like to comment, to do so at this point. Commissioner Buckley.
Thank you, Chair. I'll just thank you for, I think, drafting a very good resolution. You really distilled a lot of the essential components of our discussions in these past few meetings, and I think captured the essential consensus of where the commission is at. So thank you for also going above and beyond and drafting this resolution for us to look at tonight. I'm prepared to support it.
If there are no other comments and no one wants to make a motion, I will move that we approve the draft resolution and would call for a second.
I'll second.
It has been moved and seconded. Did you get Commissioner Overall did the second? Any discussion? No discussion? Then go ahead and cast your votes. And that passes 7-0. Thank you so much, everyone. That takes care of our latest recommendation. Request from City Council. As a reminder, we still have 2 that are lingering out there, and we're going to get to those as soon as we can. Item number 4. So item number 4 was something that I had requested go on the agenda. It's the first draft of an internal procedural provision that would allow us to utilize committees. I made this suggestion for 2 reasons. One, because committees are a pretty common tool. Most boards and commissions have them. Most boards and commissions in Lakewood have them. And secondly, because they can be a useful tool. Somehow, this procedural issue has become something that is believed to be something more than that. Despite it just being a first draft, I have not heard from anybody about any particular changes. We had a individual who wanted to have comments on this put on Lakewood Speaks, and I think everyone received a email from this public commenter. Because they weren't afforded an opportunity to put this on. It was my understanding that when the rules and procedures were first adopted, it was an internal matter that was not subject to public comment, but this individual did want to make a public comment, so I'll read that comment. I am writing to you because no public comment is being accepted on this topic for tonight's meeting. I don't see a need for the creation of these committees and am concerned about the amount of control given to the chair, who would not only choose the minimum of 2 members, but would also be included in every meeting. If additional research is needed, why not utilize a study session times to do this work? Most members of the commission work full-time jobs, and the request is for them to serve on an ad hoc committee outside of those scheduled meetings. As is, there are already commission members who do go beyond the packets provided with the agenda and do deep dive research on their own, which they share with the group. I have watched members volunteer to gather data or organize information on their own time and then bring their findings to the entire group at the scheduled public hearing. The present chair has already, in his rather brief tenure, demonstrated preferences and biases towards certain commission members. This would be problematic since the chair would be selecting committee members. It is interesting to note that the chair introduced this proposal granting his position power to control and participate in every committee meeting. I hope the commission votes against this proposal, which seems more like a power grab than a transparent information gathering resource. This public commenter has also sent a lot of individual messages to me, perhaps to others as well, and has included things like the chair has a know-it-all attitude. He is oppressive. He is dictatorial. I raise my ugly head in disdain. I don't even realize that I'm doing it. You are overbearing. You are domineering, which I guess would all be consistent with a power grab. The reason I mention this is that this is what we're seeing everywhere now, right? Someone volunteers to be on a board or they run for office, and it's a personal attack rather than a policy attack. And I've been particularly upset about the repeated attacks on staff who are professionals who are earning a public sector wage as if there is some incompetence or negligence or corruption. And I think that it's important to call this out. I am prepared to cede to this commenter, who's a frequent commenter, who is who does not always follow procedure, and say that I am all of these things, that I have a horribly flawed personality. But I would like people to focus on the policy, the data, the facts that are brought to bear. And my promise to every commissioner is that if I think you're wrong, I'm going to tell you I think you're wrong. And if you're attacked for your personality or some other personal trait, I'm going to defend you. As it relates to this issue of whether we have committees or not, I'm going to pull it. There's no reason, if there isn't enthusiasm for committees, there's no reason to have committees. But I do think this is an important lesson that we're going to need to point out at each and every meeting is the attack on policy, which is always legit, or is it an attack on a person? We'll now move on to item number 5. Item number 5 is general business, and we had a request from Commissioner Peters. You have something on item number 5?
Actually, it was the previous one. 4. I just wanted to thank you, Commissioner Kokemeyer, and I really believe that it's the right thing to work within this group. We currently have 4 meetings a month, and we've all committed to reserving that time, whether it's a planning commission meeting or whether it's a study session. And I personally appreciate being able to work through any of our thoughts or everybody's background and everybody's contribution and working in a transparent way as a whole. So I think you're doing the right thing, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Commissioner O'Neill.
So I respectfully disagree with Commissioner Peters. I think the ad hoc committee would allow for a lot more conversation that we don't have time for because we all work full-time jobs. I don't see the lack of transparency. It's actually the ability for folks that are participating in the ad hoc to bring more to the public meeting. I'm confused. I guess I'm confused on the tone around this. I'm confused about killing this for one comment. I have not received comments. I actually haven't read the draft either because I wasn't getting my city emails again, but I'm looking at it now. So I don't see the power grab. We're all flawed. I mean, every person walking the earth is flawed. I mean, we can't be held to, such a high standard that nobody makes mistakes or says the wrong thing sometimes, or I guess I'm confused why this is being killed. I don't know if there's any support for it beyond myself, but I think it could be very valuable.
I have withdrawn it.
Okay.
I don't know, Commissioner Buckley, if there's something else you wanted to say on that, or can we move on to item number 5?
I'll be brief. I'm in agreement with you withdrawing it. I don't know if it has any particular obvious value, and so I'm comfortable with your decision, and I'll leave it there with the policy substance of it.
Okay. Item number 5, general business. We had a request from Commissioner Peters for an update on the Lakewood Housing Commission. Hopefully everybody's familiar with the Lakewood Housing Commission, and the irony of the next sentence I'm going to utter is, it will not be lost on anyone. It is a committee of the City Council. It is made up of the mayor and 5 representatives of the ward. The chairperson is Councilor Maya Guerrero. Mayor Strom is on it, Councilors Ryan, LeBur, Sinks, and Lowe. They have tasked themselves with bringing ideas to the whole City Council related to affordable housing. They have met 3 times. Many of you might have watched it on video. I don't know. I attended the previous 2. The commission has not itself done anything formally, but they have come up with a list of potential ideas that they may submit to the City Council as soon as May 20th. I think the good news is that about a third of what they were talking about are actually recommendations that came from our work on those recommendations related to increasing affordable housing opportunities, ADUs, things like that. But here's the list that they are looking at this moment. Number 1, to establish a fund for the purpose of supporting affordable housing. Second, to fast track and prioritize permitting for affordable units. Third is to do what would be necessary to legalize pallet shelters, which would be primarily to address the needs for those that are unhoused, eviction prevention programs, permanent supportive housing, land banking, and land community trust. And then an example of something that we dealt with on the ADUs was the minimum parking requirements. There's a lot of discussion and interest by them on minimum parking requirements and how that affects affordability of housing. And then the 2 big ones are minimum lot size, which it sounds like there's tremendous support for looking at that issue, as well as inclusionary zoning. So they, at their last meeting, they asked Director Parker, as obviously the Director of Planning, myself as the Chair of the Planning Commission, and Metro West to appear. The other 2 gave presentations. I was primarily there to answer questions. Director Parker reported that the department is already working on prioritizing and expediting permitting, and with the hope of perhaps, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Rice, but I thought it was perhaps by this summer to get it down to 90 days.
Correct.
Yep. So that would be, I think, a dramatic improvement in some of the concerns people have about permit review. In addition, they are working on changes to the building code that would make pallet shelters permitted for everyone who doesn't know a pallet shelter, and actually we shouldn't call them pallet shelters because pallet is a company, it's a particular company, but they are temporary structures that are usually clustered in a small community that have supportive services, hygienic services, electricity. They are not connected to, they don't have bathroom or kitchen facilities in the structure itself. But they do have room for usually 1 or 2 people to sleep, and they have heating and air conditioning. So they're safe weather-wise. and lockable, so it's considered a safer community. And that is something that the department is already working on. In addition, the director reported that on the funding that we receive under Initiative 123, which is the statewide referendum on affordable housing, that we are in Lakewood going to have to justify that we have an additional 475 affordable units no later than, I believe it's December of 2026, in order to be eligible for the next round of funding. Metro West also gave a presentation where they talked about what their process is, what their opportunities they see, but the truth is they only have 44 units in the pipeline. So that is all that could be expected at this point from them. So the next step will be the commission will report to the full city council on May 20th during a study session. I think, based upon their discussion, they are going to suggest action on those 9 items that I mentioned before. Any questions? Commissioner Peters.
Thank you very much for that report. And I'm very interested in the inclusionary housing. Can you speak a little bit more to the discussion around that and the probability of that moving forward and what that might look like?
Yeah, and this is just my estimation of their discussions and,
Sure.
and what other city councilor members have said, but I think there's a high likelihood that a inclusionary zoning program will be discussed and formulated. Whether it ultimately passes, I don't know. But that was a recommendation from the consultants. The consultants that worked on the strategic housing plan made a presentation and talked in very general terms. I will tell you, just patting the commission on the back a little bit, I think the information that we reported to City Council on that particular item gave even more specifics about Denver's and Boulder's programs, but there are other programs in the metropolitan area that are out there already, and I believe there are 25 cities in Colorado that have some form of inclusionary zoning. So there seems to be a lot of support for that. I will tell you that I think the consultants continue to suggest that it should be primarily carrot rather than stick. I think that there are several members of City Council that feel that maybe there should be more stick than carrot. But that's for them to work out, obviously. And I don't anticipate that we're going to be asked for any follow-up on that, but that's possible as well.
Okay, yeah, I think that was my other question was, do you think there'll be any follow-up for us? And I do think that meeting that 475 affordable units, that inclusionary housing is definitely the way we can get there and do that.
Yeah, timing is the tough thing, right? Because December of 2026 is going to be here pretty fast, and the development process is long. I will also note something that I think I know that Director Parker said at the end of that meeting, and it's something that we are going to have to grapple with. Which is that if what we're trying to do is get affordable units and we prioritize them in the review process and we expedite permitting and whatnot, those things can be contrary to additional public engagement. So his caution was just understand that you've got two sides to this. That if you require a longer development process, then that does delay approval of those projects. So we are going to be giving our recommendations on those issues in the future, so something to keep in mind.
Great, thanks. Yeah, and I think that longer development process, I could see that there'd be 2 tracks, right? One for affordable housing and one for the regular process. So there would be incentive, particularly if it was all affordable or even a certain percentage affordable in inclusionary housing, which would align with the carrot approach that seems to be popular with everybody, and I think we can do this as a city.
Well, I mean, they have not gotten to that level of detail yet, and I think the question was asked to the director on the prioritization and expedite it. The intent is to expedite the entire permitting process, but there may also be an aspect of it that would be to prioritize projects with affordability as well.
Great, thank you. Appreciate that report.
Sure. I think, Mr. Rice, we are to you already. In terms of schedule, it was my understanding that we don't have anything scheduled for our next meeting, which would be next Wednesday.
That is correct.
And therefore, we'd be canceling that meeting.
Yes, if there is no business from the commission, yes, we would cancel next week. And then we're looking at June 5th for a special use permit on a request by the applicant for dog daycare. So that's what we have for June 5th. And then I keep repeating things. I do not have, at this point in time, anything calendared from staff after June 5th. I've got some other items that were 2 rezonings, 3 special use permits, but they're just not to the point where I can give you a date at this point in time. So if I don't have anything come up, we'll have to talk about calendar again and next meeting at June 5th.
Okay. And then we had talked about in June that if we needed a second meeting in June, it would be the second week of June rather than the third because of Juneteenth.
Correct. That would be June 12th.
Great. So we'll know that for sure by the June 5th meeting. Is there any update on Yarrow? We hear they're in their final back and forth with staff, but we don't have a hearing date or referral date.
We don't have a referral date. So comments have been put together. I haven't confirmed if they've gone out or they're going out this week. A meeting has been scheduled to discuss comments with the staff reviewers, Public Works and Planning, Community Resources. And so I know they were finalized. I think they actually went out the first part of this week, and then we're just waiting for that meeting, and then an update on the applicant and when they're going to resubmit. So we need at least that review to be complete and the applicant to take a look at it to start thinking about a calendar date.
All right. If there are no other scheduling issues, anything else from Commissioner Buckley?
Sure, I had a question for Mr. Rice. I believe several months ago you mentioned there might be an upcoming special use permit for a shelter, a city applicant. Is that one of the 3 that you're still waiting on more information to set a date for?
That is not. So that process is kind of there's another group that's working on that. They are looking at relocating the Action Center. And of course, I'm blanking on the location. It's one of the schools that's being vacated, and then there's a second piece. So that use, I think, could move into the existing Emory. So relocating the Action Center to Emory, and then if they were to do a shelter, that would come to before the commission as a public hearing, and they haven't relocated the facility, so that one's still several months out. It's not one of the 3 that I'm talking about.
Okay, thank you.
If nothing further, I think we've broken a record. We will adjourn at 7:37. Thanks.